Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. Today I'm talking about a vintage fragrance. Not so old, but still considered by many as a proper 70s style fougère masculine fragrance. Boucheron Homme EDT. Now, Boucheron has the reputation of creating some of the most finest men's fragrances on a budget. And here is another one. What a fantastic fragrance this is, guys. But before I go into the details of this fragrance, let me tell you or take you through the versions that are there and when this was released and all that stuff. So this came out in 1991, and the perfumer is a special person. His name is Raymond Chaillan, and he has produced a fragrance here which will be known as one of the most greatest men's fragrance ever to be created. So there are many fine perfumers, right? But Raymond Chaillan is probably in that special category, the special forces of perfumers, if you like. These people, like Raymond Chaillan, like Gilles Roubert, like Jean-Paul Guerlain, these people are capable of creating absolute sorcery, magic, through ingredients which are quite common. Right? So we are talking about a fragrance here which does things that normal fragrances in this category isn't able to do or aren't able to do. And that's why they are so special. But try and look for a picture of Raymond Chaillan on the internet and you wouldn't find any. Very few. Right? So they are almost forgotten by the Fragcom, but they are actually the greatest of the perfumers out there, the very finest, right? And I'll tell you why. So, but before that, let's do the bottle bit. So as you can see, this bottle design here is not the only bottle design that's available. So let's go through them. This came out in 1991, so the early 90s bottles are still there, far and few. They used to have, sometimes they used to have a different sort of a cap where you will see this bottom bit here, the last two would have a blue sort of a color to it, blue dye to it. That's not the only way to describe the old bottles. The old bottles, the one that I'm reviewing is made in France. Some of the old bottles, or most of the old bottles, were from Switzerland. So I'm going to put some details here on your screen. And they were manufactured by PCI, and they used to have 80% by volume. These are 75%, and they would have Boucheron under EDT in the bottle detail, if you like. Then there's the EDP, which has the frosted glass bottle. Two sides are frosted. And then there is the EDT that I'm reviewing. This is manufactured in France under license, and this is by Interparfums. Interparfums have reduced the concentration from 80% to 75%. And there is also some difference in the notes. So the old fragrances used to have a more powdery, pronounced powdery sort of dry down. This one doesn't. The EDP has a more pronounced powdery dry down. So those are differences, yeah? So even the Interparfums bottles sometimes come with a blue dye on the bottom of the cap. So you've got to be watchful for those. There's another version out in the circulation which I could not find a picture of. And that doesn't have anything on the bottle, but on the packaging there's a B above, letter B above Boucheron. So that's also a sign of a vintage formulation. I'm sure there are many more, but these are the ones I could find. So that's the bottle bit taken care of. The 75% Interparfums isn't a bad smell. I like it a lot. And slightly more modern or modernized to today's palette, if you like. So let's start. I've got a dry down. I've taken care of the bottle and the concentrations. I've taken care of the perfumer and the year it was released. Now let's talk about the fragrance. The fragrance, the atomizer and stuff like that. So what is this fragrance all about? Wow. If you look at various people talking about this, this fragrance, people talk about the lemon. People talk about it being a citrus aromatic or a citrus woody. It's not. It's basically the first 25% of the fragrance. It starts like a citrus aromatic, lots and lots of lemon, verbena, bergamot, orange, herbal side, basil, I believe, and sweetness, mandarin orange. So those are the notes. That's the top note, and that's what people talk about. The citrus aromatic is very fresh, very, very, very invigorating, very, very high energy. It's lovely. But this fragrance is actually a fougere with an ambery warmth. So what you would call in today's parlance would be an amber fougere. Amber fougères are very highly rated, at least by myself. So that's the opening, and then it brings in lavender. So sharp lemon lavender with oak moss. That's the prominent thing, and all the other notes I mentioned. Lemon verbena brings in that vegetal sort of lemony side to it, and lavender, which is the clean sheet smell, and oak moss, which can be a little bit bitter when it's cold. Today it's warm, so it's not that bitter. And vetiver. Those are the notes that come to mind, or you smell. Excuse me. The fragrance takes a long time to get into the middle phases. The middle phase has a bouquet of florals. Excuse me. And those bouquet of florals don't come to the surface all at the same time. They actually take, time to come to the surface. Sometimes they actually might come to the surface way into the dry down. And that's what I like about this fragrance. It's so beautifully orchestrated with so many notes. There are 20 notes, or probably more. And the chief floral that actually brings this fragrance in the realm of from very good to exceptional is jasmine. Jasmine combined with tonka, oak moss, and all the light notes like lemon verbena, and lavender. Lavender is not light note, but it's just used like that, airy, clean lavender. And jasmine is just pushing the fragrance in the realm of extraordinary. And then there's this camphorous ylang ylang. Those are two notes. And then when the fragrance dries down, that is when the magic happens. That's the sorcery. I have never seen a fragrance do this. It's one of the greatest fragrances, that's why. It brings in a note of sandalwood, but sandalwood like no other. It smells of sandalwood mixed with incense. And all the notes I mentioned, along with incense, creates this outstanding, warm, smoky, woody, resinous sort of dry down, along with all the fougere notes I mentioned. And that's why this fragrance is spectacular. I've never seen a fragrance do this with such mastery. All these notes, the incensey sandalwood with oak moss, with amber, excuse me, with vetiver, with lavender, and the florals. It just creates a magical scent on your skin, and you're thinking to yourself, how is that even possible for the kind of money I paid for this fragrance? It's just incredible, the fragrance. So that's the dry down, the smoky. And then when you sit down and you're working away and suddenly you start smelling a fantastic rose out of nowhere. Sometimes you smell this lily of the valley, a slightly powdery orris-like smell. And you're thinking to yourself, oh yes, of course, this fragrance has orris, this fragrance has rose, this fragrance has lily of the valley, and those things just speak out. Sometimes, just like a, okay, and then subside. And you're thinking, wow, how much does this fragrance offer? So that's the fragrance journey, the incredible fragrance journey. So, upsides and downsides. Number one upside, the creative brilliance, the mastery. The notes I mentioned are found in so many fragrances. The beginning is so reminiscent of 70s masculine fougere, based on oak moss, lavender, tonka, and all the lemony notes. In spite of that, the dry down, the middle stage, and the development, the transformation is just masterful, and just the creativity is off the charts. The fragrance is absolutely, Hall of Famer, in my opinion. The second upside, value for money. I paid £17 for 50 ml 8 years ago. I got this fragrance in about 2017, 2018ish time, maybe even earlier. I can't quite remember. I haven't worn this much, but the But the way this fragrance transforms, the way this fragrance brings in various elements is niche level. Some of the greatest niche fragrances are basically trying to do what this does at rock bottom prices, right? That's the second upside. And the third upside, if you are into men's fragrances, to learn the actual art, what perfumery is, this is indispensable. You have to have this fragrance in your collection. If you're interested as a keen student of perfumery, you have to have this fragrance in your collection. Yeah, it's that good. It's that incredible in terms of creativity. Now the downside. Does this fragrance smell dated? Initially, yes. Does this fragrance remind you of a bygone era? Initially, yes. This sort of genre is coming back. In recent times, we've seen fragrances like Beau de Jour by Tom Ford, which is harkening back to that sort of era. We've seen various versions of Beau de Jour. This doesn't smell like Beau de Jour, but it's that sort of genre, that sort of family. Will this fragrance get you a compliment? Probably not. People will probably grade you as a retro based on the smell you get. But you may get a compliment. I mean, you never know. This is the thing with compliments. It depends on who smells you and what mood they're in when they smell you. As simple as that. So those are the downsides. This is slightly old-fashioned, if you like. But a tremendous fragrance. I mean, you can't really knock this fragrance, no matter how hard you try. If you know a little bit about fragrances, if you have a little bit of experience, you cannot knock this fragrance down. That's the thing. It's a compulsion to like this fragrance. It's so good. So let's talk about the other aspects. Value for money is tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Occasions. You can wear this 3 seasons. When it's too cold, it starts to smell a little bit more bitter. When it's too hot, it starts to smell a little bit bitter. Age groups. This is a mature scent. I would say 40 plus. It is a fragrance of tremendous self-confidence. Achievers. This, I cannot see anybody who is too afraid of being graded, branded, bracketed, wearing this fragrance. But if you have tremendous self-confidence and you do not care about external gratification, what others think, you'll support this because of the work of art this is. It is incredible. The artistic value of this fragrance is absolutely right up there. So it will be for people, it is suitable for people in a certain age group. Or if you have tremendous self-confidence and you don't really care, right? Seasons I've covered, occasions, daytime. Perfect for daytime or evening as well when it's warm, like nowadays. So in summer evenings, perfect. Other seasons, daytime. As long as it's bright and sunny, it smells spectacular, especially the opening and the dry down. It's just something else. Number of sprays. You've got to be watchful with this. This is not a beast mode fragrance. It's got tremendous performance. So let's talk about performance first. So the longevity is incredible. I'm talking 16 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, depending on how much you spray. But it doesn't project a lot. So projection is sort of medium projection. Sillage is medium to strong. But longevity is tremendous. 24 hours, even sometimes on your fabric, longer. So how many sprays do you wear this? Depends on where you are. If you're outdoors, and this is quite outdoorsy, you can go 4 sprays. But if you're indoors, the initial part can surprise people. So more than 4 sprays could spell disaster for you. It'll work reverse. But yeah, considering that you're indoors, 2 here, or maybe 1 here, and 2 on your shirt will do the job for you. You'll smell it all day. It's very high quality. I don't know how they've done it. It's very high quality. You keep smelling it all day. It just keeps coming back to you and reaffirming to you that you're smelling absolutely splendid. So, I've covered all aspects. Tremendous value for money, great creativity, amazing transformations, and one of the finest masculine fragrances. How many marks would I give it? I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The reason being, 1 mark I'm reducing because this is from a bygone era. And I do not want you to go and blind buy this, thinking this is going to get you a lot of compliments. You don't buy a fragrance like this for compliments. You buy a fragrance like this to understand, learn, and appreciate the amazing art of perfumery. 9 out of 10. Hope you enjoyed the review, fellas. Take care. Bye-bye.